Hello, welcome to the Voice of Azerbaijan. Our telephone numbers are 22364080. Today we will have an essay about Khojaly Genocide by Armenia. Khojaly Genocide, the tragedy of the 20th century. The Khojaly Genocide, with its conceivable cruelty and inhuman punitive methods, was completely targeted against the people of Azerbaijan and represents a barbarian act in the history of humankind. At the same time, this genocide was a historical crime against humanity. The Khojaly Genocide is one of the most terrible and tragic pages of Azerbaijan history. This merciless and cruel genocide was the most dreadful mass terror act in the history of humankind. It should be mentioned that Azerbaijan has endured ethnic cleansing and genocide by Armenian nationalist chauvinists for 200 years. The people of Azerbaijan were deported from their historical lands and became refugees and internally displaced persons because of Armenian occupation. Azerbaijanis were also forced from their historical lands during the Soviet periods. 150,000 Azerbaijanis were deported from Armenia and placed in Kur-Araz plain from 1948 till 1953. 250,000 Azerbaijanis were forced from their historical territories in 1988 and Armenia became a monoethnic state. The Nagorno-Karabakh events, which began in 1988, along with continuous efforts to implement the Armenian desire of building a state from sea to sea, led to the destruction of towns and villages, murder of thousands of innocent people, as well as the exile of hundreds of thousands of Azerbaijanis from their native lands. The Armenian government wanted to annex Nagorno-Karabakh despite international legal norms and demonstrates their readiness to resort to any kind of crime and barbarism for the sake of its ideology. The Khojaly Genocide, the tragedy of 20th century, was a result of this aggressive and criminal policy. This tragedy, which took part in the 20th century, was one of the most serious crimes not only against the people of Azerbaijan but humanity as a whole. What was Armenians' purpose in Khojaly? On one hand, that was the liquidation of strategic hindrance in the form of Azerbaijani residents of the mountainous part of Nagorno-Karabakh. On the other hand, that was the razing of Khojaly to the ground, because Khojaly was an inhabited place which reflected the history and traditions of Azerbaijan since the ancient times. This distinct culture is classified as Khojaly Gadabay in Azerbaijani history. The destruction of the cultural monuments and Khojaly graveyard, one of the most ancient cemeteries in history after the Armenian occupation, is obvious examples of Armenian barbarism and aggression against the world culture. Armenian military forces committed genocides in the town of Khojaly with the population of 7,000 on 26 February 1992. There were 30,000 people in the town at the time of Armenian military forces attack. 613 people were killed. 1,000 civil people of different ages became invalid during Khojaly Genocide. 106 women, 63 children, 70 old men were killed. 8 families were completely annihilated. 130 children lost one parent, while 25 both of them. 1,275 residents were taken as hostages. All these were committed by Armenian forces with special wildness and barbarism. Episodes of Khojaly Genocide terrify people. Antigua, the resident of Khojaly, was burned alive because she did not say these places are part of Great Armenia to Armenian forces. Armenians outraged upon survivors. They scalped, cut the people's head, extracted eyes of children, chopped stomach of pregnant women. Thank you for hearing to the Voice of Azerbaijan. Again, mention our telephone number 223640